Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to talk about how to overcome limiting beliefs fast in 2021. How does that sound? Exciting? So let's start with the first thing, the definition. What is a limiting belief? Well, simply put, a limiting belief is any thought that you keep thinking that keeps you from having what you really truly desire. You might be sitting there thinking, well, if a limiting belief is just a thought that I keep thinking, wouldn't it be pretty simple to change my thoughts? No, it actually isn't. Why? It's because our thoughts are ruled by our subconscious mind. Most of us think these limiting thoughts, these limiting beliefs, without even realizing that we are thinking them. They're running like a computer virus in the background of our brain, controlling our decision making, controlling our futures, and until we build awareness around it, there's no way that we can start to get rid of the limiting beliefs. So how do you get rid of a limiting belief? We're going to get into that. So we inherit our limiting beliefs from all different kinds of places, from religion, from society, from TV and magazines, advertising, from our parents and our grandparents, from any type of culture or organization that we belong to. Limiting beliefs they come from everywhere around us, and they could be about anything. They could be about our physical appearance. They could be about our intelligence. They could be about our abilities. Your limiting belief could be about your money beliefs. It could really be about anything in your life that holds you back. So here in the Volcano, we like to refer to limiting beliefs as but stories, B-U-T. Why? Because oftentimes these limiting beliefs have the word but in front of them. And so if you think about it, if they're called but stories, what does but story, if you abbreviated but story, what would it be? BS. That's right. BS. So we're about to get into some BS stories, and I want you to raise your hand every time I say a BS story that you've thought before. Okay, so listen to these BS stories and tell me if you've ever identified with any of them. But I'm not a tech person. But I'm too old to do this. But all the good ones are taken. But the market is too saturated. But I've always been bad with money. There's no way that could change, could it? But all men are cheaters. How many of you guys are raising your hands yet? But money is the root of all evil. So how many of you sound familiar to you? Ding, 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 ding. These are limiting beliefs. These are the thoughts that we keep thinking that hold us back from what we truly desire. And I'm gonna teach you how to break through them today. You ready? Okay guys, so here are 4 simple steps you can follow so that you can create awareness around your limiting beliefs and they don't have to run in the background of your subconscious mind and control your future anymore. Does that sound like something that might be useful to you? Okay, step number 1, we create awareness of our limiting beliefs. How do we create awareness around our limiting beliefs? The more aware you are of your subconscious thoughts, or as we call it in the Volcano, your shadow side, the easier it'll be to catch it and change it in its tracks. Start by writing down all the limiting beliefs you have about the following things. Just write them all down as they come up. It might be hard at first, but the more you write, the easier it'll get. So write down the limiting beliefs you have about the following things in your life. Money, your gender, your sexuality, your race or culture, your intelligence or your creativity, your physical appearance, your age, and anything else that comes up. Step 2. Step 2 is called naming your shadow side. So as you remember, our subconscious voice, the limiting belief voice, is what we call our shadow side. And now we get to name it. So in naming your shadow side, you want to think of something that is slightly evil, but still fun and still lovable. So a good rule of thumb is to think of your favorite book or movie as a kid. Who is the villain in that book or movie? Some good examples of a good shadow voice or a shadow side name could be Ursula the Sea Witch, Gollum, Maleficent, or Professor Snape. You get the idea, right? So come up with a good villain name who's somebody who is slightly evil, still lovable, still somebody that like maybe you can identify with a little bit. That's gonna be a good voice for your shadow. So step number 3, you become your shadow side. That's right. What I want you to do is embody your shadow side, whether that means putting on a costume, a wig, makeup, or even just making a certain face or doing a certain voice. Now set up your phone, set up your video camera, and record yourself reading all of your BS stories into the camera in that sexy, dramatic, silly, slightly evil shadow side voice. Do your best to embody and impersonate this shadow side and make a recording of it. Once you've got the recording, then you get to play it back to yourself. And every time your shadow side says one of those BS stories, your regular self gets to say, BS! I'll show you how.
But I'm too old to find a boyfriend.
BS! But my family's always been poor, so I'll always be poor. BS! But the pandemic has made everyone poor, so no one can afford my coaching anymore. That's BS.
My thighs look too thick to wear a swimsuit in public.
BS. Step number 4 is replace all of those BS stories with new beliefs. Now, if a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking, then a way to create new beliefs is to keep thinking those thoughts, right? And eventually you'll form those neural connections and those new thoughts will take the place of the old ones. It's going to take practice and it's going to take time. Okay, so remember that. It doesn't happen in a day. These limiting beliefs have been stacking up and repeating themselves in your neurology, in your mind, your entire life most likely, or most of your life, and most of your parents' lives before you and their parents' lives before them. So you're actually undoing generations and generations of limiting beliefs that have held you and your ancestors back. Whoa. Okay, so to replace the thought with a new belief, you basically just do the opposite. Again, it might feel weird, it might feel silly at first, but every time your shadow side comes up and says, I'm too old to find a boyfriend, you say BS, you replace it with a new thought and you say, actually, you know what? Older men are more emotionally intelligent and available, so I would rather have an older man. Every time your shadow side comes up and says, well, my family's always been poor, so I guess I'll always be poor, you call BS and you replace it with, I'm so glad that I came from a poor family so I can be motivated to create financial wealth and abundance for me and all of my loved ones. Every time your shadow side comes up and says, the pandemic has made everybody poor, so now nobody can afford my coaching, you call BS and you replace that with, actually, the pandemic has made people realize that everyone needs a life coach to help them turn their mindset around. And there's a bigger need for coaching now more than ever. Because it's true. One more BS story. If something like this comes up, your BS, the old story is, my thighs are too thick to go out in a swimsuit in public. You call BS. You say, actually, my thighs are beautiful. They're thick, they're round, they're juicy, they're healthy, and I love my thighs. And I can wear a swimsuit wherever I go. Once you get really good at this, you'll be able to identify your shadow side BS stories coming up anytime, anywhere, I guarantee it. And you'll find yourself going, BS in the grocery store, or BS while you're driving, or BS, maybe you're cooking dinner. Just let them come up and remember that this is not about creating an internal battle between your shadow side and your wiser self. This is actually about integrating your parts, because let's face it, your shadow side, your subconscious mind, your limiting beliefs, they're probably going to be around for quite a while, if not the rest of your life. And if you don't make friends with them, they're going to continue to run things from the background, right? But if you make friends with them, if you become aware of them and you start this process, you follow these 4 simple steps, you'll be able to catch them at any time and say, actually, you're not allowed to drive the bus anymore. I'm gonna put my wiser self behind the driver's wheel, okay? So you guys practice, 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 and remember to call BS on those thoughts when they come up. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel for more stuff just like this, and follow us on social media, The Little Volcano. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, my pretties, so if you and your shadow side enjoyed this video about conquering your limiting beliefs in 2021, then please like and subscribe for more content just like this. And thanks for watching.